Hi, everybody, and welcome to another exciting edition of the SoCal Prep Report. Rich Stray here with you, along with Randy Rosenblum and my buddy Bob Gibson. Bob, you came back for another week, huh?
I'm back. You know, they keep pulling me back in. Mo keeps no-showing, so I got to show up, you know?
Well, you know, Mo's a busy guy right now. It's basketball season. Mo
is
a CIF official and a collegiate NCAA official as well, so Mo's a little busy right now. Today, we're going to review a lot of stuff with the state. Remember, it's been kind of broken up a little bit due to the fires they've had up north and, of course, down here. Some teams didn't get to play as scheduled because, of course, a little smoky. Maybe you might not have your home by when you get home. So they had to cancel those games. But, again, it's going to end up this week. Also, we're going to talk a little bit about the passing of Marijon Ancich, the famous, I mean, he's an icon here in Southern California. Matter of fact, an icon in the nation. When he retired, he was the winningest head football coach in high school in California, currently number 2, and man, we'll talk about him in a little bit. It's been a tough week if you're a St. Paul alum or if you're part of the Ancich family. All right, let's continue on now and have a look. We're going to take a look at the state scoreboard. A lot of teams played last week, including the national champion, Mater Dei.
Yep, Mater Dei gets the big win over De La Salle 2 years in a row, I should say, 35-21 this time around. Wasn't quite as easy as it was.
What happened?
Hey, come
Who
on,
got faked out? Is that Ned? Is that Ned Silver right there directing?
Absolutely. That looked like it for sure.
Hey, JT Daniels looks great here.
Yeah, right. that was Cameron Gardner on the first touchdown. Brew McCoy got one. And then, boy, the turnovers just started coming. There's a touchdown there for
Hey, De La Salle can throw the ball a little bit better than we thought.
Yeah, but they can also turn the ball over, unfortunately for them, which really was their
Four
undoing.
times, Bob.
By the way, that's Jacoby Harper right there. And if you're a D1 football coach, look that kid up and give him an offer quickly. Because
Why
that's
would you
a
give him an offer? He had a pedestrian night, Bob.
Yeah, he scores 3
22
touchdowns.
rushes,
Touchdowns every game.
That kid can play for my college football team any day of the week.
122 yards in a state final, Bob.
UCLA ought to be in on
3
him
touchdowns.
because they need the talent over there.
Yeah, the tight end from Mike
And
Martinez,
they've already got
who's
Mike
going to
Martinez,
UCLA. He's pretty
right,
good.
who's already going there. But
He's all right.
Maybe they can pull Brew McCoy, who's uncommitted, along. Anyway, we digress. Mater Dei not only wins another state championship, that's on the heels of the CIF title, which they avenged the loss to Bosco earlier in the season. They win another national championship as well. And there's just Bosco probably overall might be a better football team this season, but it doesn't count when the scoreboard shows you Mater Dei is your state champions for another
You know,
year.
in terms of De La Salle, they had a chance to win the football game, but as you noted, if you're going to be the team that's going to pull the upset, you can't turn it over like that.
4 times,
and they
baby.
kept putting the ball on the ground when they had a chance. Self-inflicted wounds, and I love McCoy, that wide receiver. He made some phenomenal catches for Mater Dei, and for Bruce Rollinson to go back-to-back national champions, that's a great mark for the old ball coach.
Thanks for not saying self-inflicted gunshot wounds,
No,
Randy.
I'm not going to do that.
Self-inflicted. 4 turnovers. It is the holiday season. But 4 turnovers, that's definitely self-inflicted.
No, it was without a doubt. They kept handing the ball back to Mater Dei.
Against the #1 team in the country, but you got to give it to them. Only losing by 14 points. And maybe they didn't turn it over that many times. Nobody says they would score on it, but it might change the field position a little bit.
Right.
But basically, look at the way Mater Dei was scoring and from what they were doing. I don't think it would have mattered. I really don't.
Well, Mater Dei probably had the 3 or 4 best players on the football field that night. So no doubt about it. Brew McCoy, wherever he ends up going, Alabama, Oklahoma.
I think it'll be SC personally.
Well, he can go anywhere he wants to because he's that good of a player. Maybe the best player that ever put on a Mater Dei uniform, and we all know what that means when you say that.
7 receptions for Brew McCoy, 166 yards and a touchdown. Not a bad night. Not a bad night in the state final.
He was all right.
One last add, too. Let's not overlook Bryce Young. I mean, that quarterback can play, and he's going to end up at SC. That we do know. Still got another year left.
One more year.
He was really laser right on. He was getting those laser shots to his receivers. Bryce Young, and he comes up with big runs at the appropriate time. Terrific quarterback.
Don't forget he learned a lot from his homeboy last year, JT Daniels, man. Hearing the pregame to that game, the pregame show, I don't know what those guys were talking about. I really don't know. I thought I heard him say.
They didn't know he went to Cathedral.
They didn't know he went to
They didn't
Cathedral
even know he
a
went to.
year
How
ago.
could you not know that the Mater Dei quarterback this year did not play there last year?
Right.
How do you not know?
Tune into this show. We know.
Man,
This is why you watch us. You're not watching somebody else. You're watching it.
we need to hire a big name, bud. When have you heard that one before? We need to hire a big name. Well, you get your big names, and this is what you get.
Big
Misinformation. All right. We'll come back to the Mater Dei game a little bit, but let's get on to some of the state stuff because we could go on again about the national champs all night long. Let's move on. CIF State Division 4A Championship game. Central Valley Christian, Pleasant Valley. Boy, wasn't even close, fellas.
No, it was a pleasant night for Pleasant Valley, wasn't it?
No pun intended, right, Bob?
Oh, not at all.
Liar.
Not at all. 43-14. Randy, I know you were all over this one.
No, not really. But, it's tough to look at a game like this because you want competitive games when you get this far into the tournament. This game obviously wasn't competitive, and Pleasant Valley obviously turned it on and blasted Central Valley Christian.
Amazing. All right, let's move on because I know everybody was excited about that one. You're going to be more excited about this one. This is the 1AA championship game, Folsom against Cathedral Classic. You know, Bob, I read a lot of publications, and I'm just amazed that people have jobs out there and people actually take this stuff serious. We are really in the era of fake news because if you read half the stuff, Folsom's in the top 10 in the country in some of these polls, Bob.
Right.
They're not beating Mater Dei. They're not beating Corona Centennial. They're not beating anybody in the Trinity League.
Are they beating Cathedral Catholic? That's
No.
the question.
No, probably not.
We all
Folsom's-
know the Cathedral Catholics from San Diego, and they have a terrific team, and Puma's an outstanding running back. They beat Narbonne. That's a very good CC football team.
Very good
Cathedral
indeed.
Catholic has a reputation, no doubt. Folsom does too, but I just not seeing it this year. We'll see. Bob, who you picking?
I'm picking Folsom.
Are you really?
Cathedral Catholic.
I'm going for the
That's
upset.
fine.
I'm
That's
picking
fine.
the upset.
Bob's
I'm
a kiss
going-
of death,
I'm
Randy.
gonna-
Yeah, he's done.
I'm
I'm
gonna-
going with
I'm
Cathedral
gonna
Catholic.
bet
They've won a
Folsom
couple
here.
state
All
titles
the
already.
way, baby.
Well, we're gonna see
All
when it
the
comes
way.
down to it.
No
In
way.
honor of Marijon Ancich, I'm going with Cathedral Catholic, right?
There you go.
Because he coached at St. Paul for a long time. All right, in the CIF State 1A, it's Liberty going up against Sierra Canyon. Sierra Canyon, 12-3. I don't know if they're 12-3. I think they may be 11-3 or 12-2 because at 15 games already. I don't think he could play 15.
Yeah,
I don't know.
We'll
But anyways,
double check. We'll double check
bottom
that.
line is this game's going to be good. Liberty is a mainstay in the state playoffs. Sierra Canyon, man, they just had a great season. They tear it up. I don't know what to say about this game, fellas, except, Bob, you better be pulling for Liberty.
give me Liberty or give me.
Thank you.
Anyway.
I'll take Sierra Canyon.
right, Bob,
I've said
good
it
job.
all season long. I love John Ellinghouse. He wins state championships. His teams rarely lose big games.
Now, here is one of the most interesting games this weekend. Del Oro, Grace Brethren. Grace Brethren has virtually come out of nowhere. No, and this is another. Grace Brethren played 15, play 16 games. I thought you only played 15. I don't know. We could be wrong. I think there's
could
something
be.
wrong with you
No,
and me.
some teams in the past
Yeah,
have played
that's
16.
true.
I don't
That's
know.
true.
They played
All right.
16.
Whatever, man. You know, whatever.
I,
Del Oro may have missed a game because of the fire, but I'm going to tell you, Grace Brethren has come out of nowhere, and they are a legit, to me, the Division I contender next year.
well,
Now, I'm going to tell you right now, they've pretty much blown through everybody. They're a small school. They don't have a ton of kids. They're well coached. They do everything like the Lombardi era. They execute. Now, Del Oro is a scary team just in general. Del Oro is always hanging around. They're always a section champion. They're always in the state. They have the edge in this game over Grace Brethren in that regard, but we'll see if execution and the Lombardiism over there is enough to upset Del Oro in this one.
what does Oro mean?
Gold.
Gold.
Of gold. Del Oro.
At least 2 touchdowns better in this game.
I think Del Oro will win the football. This is where it ends for Grace Brethren. They've had a phenomenal year, that team from Simi Valley. But Del Oro, on tradition and how well they're coached, they're going to win another state championship. Del Oro is always there, and look for them to win this football game.
Why is this shot? I'm always like halfway in Randy's shot.
I don't know. I think
You want
Randy
me to
needs
move
to.
over?
Okay,
No,
let's
no,
adjust, Bob. You
anyway.
come my way.
You
Let
look
me
good,
go this
Bob.
way a little
You
bit.
look good.
Randy, go out a little bit.
Half
Get
my face.
Randy,
Why-
look at our
why-
monitor.
why is
It's
this-
a good half.
anyway.
No, Randy, get out a little bit. Back up. There you go, Bob. Now scoot over that way a little
All right.
bit.
There we
And then
go.
I'll go here.
All
Randy, we'll both touch the monitor. Now we're in the center.
Now
All right,
we're
how
looking
about that?
good.
We're directing from the
Hey,
floor
everybody,
now.
welcome to the Three Stooges Show. All right, let's continue on. I'm taking Grace Brethren, all right?
Yeah.
What?
I'm just taking
All
them.
right.
You just want to be different?
No, I just think they're going to win because I do think they're well coached and I think they're more disciplined. I think Del Oro's never seen somebody like these guys. And I honestly think that Grace Brethren, based on the schedule they played this year and the way they handled themselves and handled pretty much everybody, will be moving on up. Just like George Jefferson, my brother.
Jefferson, I love it.
Absolutely.
Easy.
All right, moving on. CIF State 2A championship game. San Joaquin Memorial against our favorite team in the southern section, Lawndale. Lawndale, come back to me. Yeah.
Lawndale.
All right, so you got Lawndale
Lawndale.
going up against Brooke and what's his brother's name? Lopez and
Yeah.
Right, yes.
yeah, those guys
Brooke
both went
and,
to
yeah,
went
Lopez
to.
I know you
twins.
mean.
I don't
All
know.
right, they both.
But that's basketball, and this is football.
It doesn't matter, man. Listen, I went and saw a game back in 2007 or 6, and the Brooks brothers were playing 2 7-footers. Two of the ugliest humans I've ever seen in my life. They were so big, so hairy, you know, and they dominated. They were in the paint, Bob. They had their hands up. Nobody could drive. Nobody could get outside.
Couple of monsters. Huh?
They take a half a step out, and they're already at the 3-point line with their arm up,
I'm
blocking
out of this
shots.
discussion. I am out of this
Oh,
discussion.
come on. Those guys are
San
NBA
Joaquin
pro,
Memorial, by the way, is gonna win this
multi-millionaire
game.
NBA professionals. They've taken worse criticism than that.
I'm involved with Fresno State, so San Joaquin Memorial's from the Fresno area.
They are.
So they're going to go 15-0, and they're going to win the state.
Undefeated state champion.
No, they're not. Lawndale's going to rip
No
them.
chance.
Lawndale
No,
all the
ain't
way,
gonna
baby.
happen.
Bob, you better take Memorial because you're the kiss of death.
Is that Power Memorial?
Yes.
Yeah.
Say
Lou
Power
Alcindor?
Memorial.
Yeah.
So, never
Well,
mind.
Number 33 is not playing today.
Oh, man. You guys are going way back.
Anyway.
All right, continuing on in the 3AA championship game. Here's the matchup. Lincoln of San Diego against Menlo Atherton. Now, that's way up north. They're coming way down south. And this ought to be a pretty good ball game, fellas.
I think that trip right there will not do them any harm. I'm picking Menlo to win this.
I'm going with Lincoln. Again, I think San Diego, this is their year. Their section teams have been great throughout. I think Lincoln gets it done.
You know, there's a Lincoln in San Francisco that's also playing for a state championship. And it's too bad we couldn't have Lincoln of San Diego
Versus Lincoln.
playing Abraham Lincoln up there in San Francisco.
That would have been fun.
Didn't happen. Did
Go
not
Lincoln.
happen. Yeah, maybe
year
both
of the
Lincoln-
Abe. That's
yeah,
what we could
that's
call it.
right.
Year
Year
of
of
the
the Abe, man.
I like Abe.
All right, let's take a look at the 3A championship. We got SoCal team in there. Got Kaiser against Wilcox. Now, Kaiser's had a pretty good and a pretty interesting season. Boy, it would be great for them to close it out with a victory over Wilcox, my friends.
Kaiser will roll.
I don't know.
Hey, I like that.
that's a
Kaiser
season-
roll. I
it's a
got it.
season.
I
That's
got
okay.
it.
Kaiser will roll. It took
A
me
lot
a
of puns
second.
today. A lot of puns today. I got it
Throw that
instantly,
out
Bob.
Wilcox will.
All right.
Wilcox will. Oh, they will. They will win. Wilcox.
Whatever, dude.
I have no idea this one.
All right, well, just say Wilcox.
Oh, I'll pick Wilcox just to be different.
Kaiser will win. You didn't say it
I'm
with
on
conviction, though, Bob. I don't know if I'm buying that.
Wilcox.
Kaiser's going to probably lose this game now, although I'm pulling for you.
Good enough.
All right, 5A, 5AA, San Gregorio here in SoCal against Rio Linda. Man, beautiful, beautiful river against San Gregorio.
Right.
What are you thinking, guys?
Well, it's a saint versus a river, right?
Yeah,
so,
pretty much.
Okay, I'm going to take the river, Rio Linda.
I
Kind
think
of, it's a pseudo sink. It would be Santo.
it's a
Gregorio.
beautiful.
Right, you're right.
Rio
Yeah,
Linda
you
is just
are
a
correct.
beautiful name.
Yeah.
So I'll go with the beauty.
All right. I like their snack bar, too, so I'm definitely going to go with San Gregorio, though.
right.
I have to do that.
Got to be different.
Top 10
Damn
snack
right.
bar, huh?
Top 10 snack bar. Thanks for Billy the G.
Billy the G.
All right, Division 5A Championship, San Diego. Yes, they have their name on it. It's a 500-year-old school taking on Colfax, 13-0. Man, I want to pull for San Diego in this game. I really do. Okay, so I'm going to pull for San Diego.
Junipero Serra actually graduated from San Diego High School back in 1543.
Did he
so
really?
I'm going to take Colfax here to remain undefeated this season.
Yeah, Colfax. There's something about that
All right.
championship flavor. When Colfax goes in the 7th game, you got a chance to
I
win.
like that.
Now we're going to throw up. Okay, we got a couple more. We got Strathmore, a little bit up
Got a
north
heck of a
against
curveball.
Yeah, he does.
against Hillmar, and you know, remember. Well, I guess we're back to San Diego. But anyways,
We already picked that one.
We're going with Colfax.
There we go.
Hillmar and Strathmore, interesting ball game. You got to remember, Hillmar won a couple of games by recovering fumbles late in the game in the end zone, which is kind of unorthodox, but they're there. They seem to be lucky. You got Strathmore. They just got a great name. I mean, that's a football name right there. I like that. Little regal to it, you know?
More and more.
So I'm going to go with Strathmore on this one, fellas.
I agree. I think they'll win the football game.
Hillmar. Hillmar is at least 3
You have to
touchdowns
be
better.
different.
No, it's
At least.
guaranteed. Hit
Yeah,
Strathmore.
we're in.
At least
Thanks,
3
Bob.
touchdowns.
We finally got one. Rich and I got one.
Okay,
There you
now
go.
we got the
There it
CIF
is. The other
6A.
Lincoln.
Orange Glen of San Diego taking on Lincoln of the Bay Area. Man, you know, it's hard to go against a team that's undefeated, 12-0. Isn't that where OJ went to school? It's San Francisco Lincoln?
Nobody famous ever came from San Francisco.
Are you sure?
Played football up there.
Oh, no, OJ played for San Francisco City College. Yeah.
OJ who?
Come on, Bob. Don't be silly now. Listen,
Yes.
you can't rewrite history. When he was an athlete, he was great. Okay?
Don't be silly on this show.
Orenthal James Simpson. Yes.
All
One of
right.
the best running backs that ever played. He went to San Francisco City College and then USC.
Yeah,
You're
he
right.
did. Yeah,
And they
he
will. They will continue their undefeated ways.
All right,
They will win
Randy,
the game.
I'm going to let you handle this one because this is a city section matchup. It's the state 4A championship between Garfield and McClemens.
Well,
Yes.
McClemens has not allowed a point in a long time.
Really?
They have 11 wins, 10 in a row, 8 shutouts.
Well, who'd
And
they
real-
lose to? Two
Yeah,
losses?
who'd they play,
They lost
Randy?
to Palo Alto early in the year.
All right, that's a good program.
And they lost to one
decent.
other
They're
early
decent.
season game. I
They
forgot
don't
who
got
it was.
Jeremy Lim anymore.
But McClemens is the favorite here with all the
They lost to
shutouts.
the Chiefs.
This is a tough trip for Garfield going up north. I do love the Garfield running back, P.J. Garcia. He's closing in on 2,000 yards. The quarterback, Jonathan Batista of Garfield, is a brilliant underclassman quarterback. Garfield is going to be great in the future. I'd love to say I think the Bulldogs are going to win the game, but
Then
I don't
say
believe
it.
that.
No, if you love to say it, then say it.
I don't
Randy.
believe
say
it. McClemens,
All right.
too good defensively,
All right.
will win the football game.
Would this be the biggest win for a city team in state football history?
Everybody move this way a little bit.
In the state
Everybody
tournament.
move this way a little bit.
Would this be the biggest win for a city
Bob, will
because
you
of what
scoot
they're up
over?
against?
Your crowd
Because of what they're up against here.
No. Narbonne won 2 titles in the last
But they
few
were
years.
expected to win.
Crenshaw won a title
if
last
Garfield
year.
wins, this would be just.
It's the greatest moment for Garfield High School, but it's not for the city section. But it would be wonderful if they could pull it off, and they have a
you.
chance, but I just don't think it's going to happen. I hope they win the game. I don't think they're going to win.
Imagine the city winning another state
It'd be
championship.
great after winning 2 last year for
Listen,
Narbonne and
here's
Crenshaw.
my opinion on this whole thing. You act like Garfield hasn't played anybody. And from what I remember of Garfield,
Yes,
Garfield
they
would
have.
go into Orange County and play some pretty decent schools in there and do quite well. I was actually surprised that they could do as well as they were doing. I don't think Garfield's going to be afraid to play with these guys. After facing Roosevelt in that big game this year, are you kidding me? They're ready for McClemens.
That's another.
They're
that was
just
another state team.
sandbagging them.
And they look great against Kennedy of Delano. They blew them out. They played almost a perfect first half. But again, I like McClemens. Here's my top 5 in the city coming up for next year. Let's close in on what I think is going to be the elite teams. No shock. Garcia returns at quarterback for Narbonne. Basically, all their skill position players are back. Birmingham needs to find a quarterback, but they have Mason White, who's a brilliant, versatile player who can actually play quarterback. There's Garfield. I just mentioned some of the players coming back for them. Lorenzo's got it going. He has a shot next year to beat everybody but Narbonne. Carson really got it going this year. They gave Narbonne the toughest struggle in the Marine League. Ali's a young quarterback who's getting better. And then there's San Fernando. I think that's a program that's been on the rise. They won the Division I title last year. They came close in the Open Division this year. They lost a tough game to Birmingham. They have an outstanding program. That's my elite 5 in the city section for next year.
Did Narbonne just schedule a very important non-league football game for next
Yes.
year?
Orange Lutheran is now on Narbonne's schedule.
About time.
So, yeah, well, yes, it's about time that
there.
Narbonne starts kicking that Trinity League around.
There
don't
you
you
go,
think?
Bob.
I'm ready for it.
Yeah.
I'm ready for it.
Hey, real quick, Randy, Birmingham needs a quarterback. I know where they could get a great quarterback right now. He's got 1 year of eligibility left. It's JT Daniels. He did have a subpar year this year at USC, but don't hold it against him. He's a
We'll take
national
him.
champion in high school.
Yeah, Birmingham will take JT Daniels
Just
in a
throwing it
moment.
out there. Just if you're watching, just something to think about.
He only played 3 years of high school football.
right.
That
There
is
was a
true.
big LA City section basketball game. You know, you think in terms of seedings when the 2 teams from other leagues play, because Washington Prep and Taft are in different leagues, so they could be behind Fairfax and Westchester. It went down to the wire. Dominic Wimbush was the star down the stretch for Taft. They win the game 60-59. But if it comes into that seeding meeting, and Taft has won the West Valley League and Washington Prep has won their league, then you're looking at Taft maybe being the 3 seed and Washington being the 4 seed. The only thing is, if you're the 4 seed, you're probably going to play Westchester. And if you're the 3 seed, you're probably playing Fairfax or vice versa. So it really doesn't matter, but that's probably for the 3 seed down the road.
You sitting in on that seating meeting?
No, I'm not on the seeding
all
yet.
right.
And there was a girls' game, Granada Hills, and I know you like this team, Bob.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, they
Really
are
good
playing
program.
great. Yeah, I mean,
We're going to
Haley
see them in just a
Burfield.
second, too, on our top 10.
Yeah, Haley Burfield scored 27 in this game. She's a terrific wing. They got players left and right. They can shoot the basketball. They're 9-1. Honig's done a great job with them. This is a great win for them because Melissa Herlihy does a terrific job with the Harvard Westlake program, and for them to beat them and start 9-1. Granada Hills, the Highlanders, I thought they might be overrated when you put them in the top 10. They are for real. They are for real.
They are on the move. Speaking of top 10s, let's
Shall we
take a look.
segue right into that?
Overrated,
We segued right into that.
They're going to move up
Attaboys.
coming up here. Here's
All
our
right.
boys basketball top 10. Sierra Canyon still occupies that top spot. Rancho Christian, St. John Bosco.
Hey, wait a minute. I got to tell you, Rancho Christian is pretty darn good.
Oh, yeah, they are.
I'm going to tell you right now, I think those guys are going to win it all. They're the only team I know right now in Southern California that can play and possibly beat Sierra Canyon, mark my words.
Corona
The Mobley brothers are 7-foot twin towers. We talk about the Lopez brothers.
Yes.
Who are the kids that went to Stanford?
Lopez brothers.
No, the other two that went to Stanford.
Oh, you're talking the Collins brothers.
Yeah,
Oh,
the Collins
Collins,
brothers,
yeah,
two,
Jared
another
and
two
Jason.
7-footers. Those guys dominated. They went to Harvard Westlake.
Yeah.
The Rancho Christians got the Mobley brothers, and those guys are out of their minds. All right.
Hey, don't overlook, and here I am being a city.
That's all right.
homer
Yeah,
again.
being a honk again
I
for
like
the city. That's
Westchester.
all right.
They're 6-0. They don't play for a while. They go to Hawaii to be in a tournament. Again, the way they play defense, it's a group that's been together for a while. They won the city championship. They're coming back with most of their guys. I think Westchester can play with anyone, and Fairfax has great guards.
They're going to have
Great
every
guards.
chance to move up this list here. Etowanda, Mater Dei, Santa Margarita moves into the top 10 this week
do.
at number 9. And Damien moves in at number 10 this week. Look for them there.
The Omen, huh?
That's right.
Whoa.
McHugh, the point guard at Santa Margarita, Jeff Reinert, their coach, says is the best point guard he's had in 7 years. He's
That's
got
saying
great
something.
players around him
That's
to
saying
dish
something.
it out to.
All right, let's talk
Absolutely.
about this top. We go back a second now. Mater Dei is way down this list, fellas, and in the country, they're not even in the top 300, I don't think.
Look, Mater Dei might be the 3rd or 4th best team in the Trinity League this year, much less
What happened?
making the top 10. You know,
No recruits this year?
yeah, I don't know. I just, you know,
We had
I-
600 recruits in that league last year.
Good, solid players and still a really good program, but not Mater Dei the way we know Mater Dei. I don't think so. Now they surprised us last year winning a CIF title, right? We left that team for dead a couple of times last year as well, and they came back and won a CIF title.
This
But
is a year
I
where
don't-
St. John Bosco's the favorite.
St. John Bosco clear and away, I think, the favorite in this league. And that says a ton because I think you throw all the names in a hat and you pick one out, and I don't know who's going to win this league. But Bosco is really good.
Is sitting as high as they're going to reach because they will not beat Rancho Christian and they will not beat Sierra Canyon.
You might be right.
Too much length, too much height, too much athleticism. When you got two 7-footers that play like point guards, holy moly, get out of the way.
Look, if you want to keep an eye on any team that's not right now in the top 10, maybe has an argument for it, and that's Orange Lutheran. I think Orange Lutheran it's a senior-laden team. They got the transfer 6'11" kid in McCurr Maker, and I think once he kind of gets more with that team, boy, Orange Lutheran could
What
really
about
make a
Taft, the
run.
Toreadors? Again, I'm going back to the city. They're
that's all right.
undefeated early in the year,
Taft
knocking
having a
off
good
some
run.
southern section schools. Big win over Washington Prep. I'm not saying they should be in the top 10, but they're another one knocking on the door.
And where's Katani's team on this? What?
Rolling Hills Prep,
Yeah,
right?
where is it,
Rolling
man?
Hills Prep. I believe they're at the top of the D5 rankings.
They couldn't crack the top 10 here?
Not quite yet.
All right, just
Not
checking. Just want to make sure we
quite
got all
yet.
the bases covered here,
about-
Bob,
how
even though
about-
we are talking basketball.
How about the girls real quick? Speaking of Rolling Hills Prep, they come in at number 10 here. That girls program's still really good over there. Granada Hills.
There we go.
There they are at number 9. And this top 10 here looks a lot like last week's because it is the same.
Well, let
as
me
last
tell you
week's.
what-
No change at all in this top 10. Those are your 10 best teams in Southern California.
Let me
right
tell you
there,
why
ladies
this
and gentlemen.
Rolling Hills Prep is such a big deal, okay? The boys and girls both get to state typically every year since Katani got there. And they only have like 100 kids in that
Yeah,
school.
that's true.
That's not hyperbole, folks. We're not even downscaling that for effect. They literally have 100, maybe 100 kids in that high school. I was there doing
If I'm not,
interviews.
and I could be mistaken, I think that's a kindergarten through 12th grade school, by the way.
Yeah, it
I
is.
think that might be,
It's-
right? I
it's
think they have
K
an
through
elementary
12. We'd fit in
school
there
there,
then.
right? Yeah, we might.
But it's the system that
is
the
a very small
coach
school.
runs that makes it happen. All right, enough of this stuff. Let's talk real quick now as we. Oh, wait
I
a
love
minute.
this.
Now, let's see
No,
the flop.
I'm glad we have this on. This is the highlight
Pardon
of the
me.
year. This is the highlight of the year. Roll this. Look at this girl. She's lining up. She's gonna. Wait.
Is that a lane violation?
I watched this thing 50 times last night. It doesn't get
Holy
any less
moly.
funny.
Where is this? Do you know?
I have no idea.
That's it. That's at Bob's High School.
This poor girl. I'm glad she got up. She looks like she's no worse where you're.
You don't think she did this on purpose just to get on TV every
Just stop in the lane. Yeah, she might. If it's gone viral, Bob saw it. It's got to be viral.
At some point, wouldn't you just fall to your knees or whatever, and you'd break your fall? But no, she just face planted right there in the lane. So God bless her.
All right. We talked a little bit about it last week. Now we're going to give you the update on Marijon Ancich, the former head coach at St. Paul, the coaching icon here in the state of California. Well, Marijon Ancich passed away this week, and our thoughts and prayers go to the legend. Now, Marijon Ancich is an icon. Make no mistake. A lot of you youngsters don't know who this guy is. Some of your dads may not even know who he is. But let me tell you something right now. This man took his teams to the CIF finals in just about every decade he went. Won a CIF championship in 3 different decades. Took his teams, I believe, in 4 or 5 different decades. When Marijon Ancich retired, he was the winningest coach in California. I believe he had 344 wins at the time, which was quite remarkable, considering that he took some time off. Started his career at St. Paul in 1961. Within 5 years, he was a national champion, a CIF champion, and won another one in the 70s, went to the finals a couple times in the 70s, did it again in the 80s. Bob, then he was in your neck of the woods in Tustin.
He was. This is when I caught up with Coach Ancich when he went to Tustin High School, spent 12 years there, and then ended up taking, this is a Tiller school that's been around since the 30s, had never done anything in the sport of football. Coach Marijon Ancich shows up and, of course, takes him to back-to-back CIF championship games. Didn't win either one of them. Had some great teams at Tustin, and including his son, Visco Ancich, was a middle linebacker on one of those teams that played for a CIF title. And Visco was a monster on the football field. You didn't want to come across him, and he was coming across the field to tackle you. That's for sure. But I always remember how gracious Coach was in defeat. I went up to do an interview with him, and he took the time, and even in the face of a very tough defeat to a Sunny Hills team. We talk about Sunny Hills High School football, but Sunny Hills beat him back in 1992. And just how gracious Coach was to give him his time.
Are we not talking about Sunny Hills anymore? People can't take it.
Well, yeah, it's true. I'm
right.
sorry.
It's all
No,
right.
I didn't know Coach Ancich, but I did know Lucianovic. So it's been a tough couple of weeks. We also lost Lucianovic a couple of weeks ago. Similar career in boys basketball at Santa Clara, out in the Ventura County area. Many championships, and Cianovic
Scoot over, Bob.
passed away recently as
You
well.
guys keep moving
All right.
out of sync here. All right,
There I
just
am.
trying to
I'm
get
good.
it
I have
together.
to-
We gotta
We're
do
looking
something.
better.
There we go. All right.
All right.
Well, no, we don't look better.
Now,
Look as good as we can.
like I said, Coach Ancich is an unbelievable guy. I hated this guy when I was in high school because I was at Santa Fe High, he was in Santa Fe Springs, and they recruited a ton of our players, man. Literally, some of our best players were going over to St. Paul. These guys would actually come to our junior high back in the 70s and look for athletes and recruit you. That was the way it was. You could do that back then. But that was it. It was strictly a competitive dislike. Once I got out, got in the media, started talking to Coach A, loved the guy. He was fantastic.
Yeah.
Always, like you said, great with the media. He won a lot. Just a great football mind. His son, Dushan Ancich, is the head coach at Villa Park High School. No surprise there. The guy's
Right.
going to the semifinals this year. Yeah. And his other son, Visco, who to me is the Rhodes Scholar of the family. This guy's brilliant. He's the head coach at Whittier High School. But this guy is, his mind's going constantly. So interesting stuff. And of course, him and Frank Mazzota, the old Cerritos College coach and the coach at Warren High School, are intertwined forever. They were great friends back then. Matter of fact, I believe Marijon Ancich was Frank Mazzota's godfather, not Frank Jr. at La Habra. Who was the head coach at La Habra High?
Right, yeah.
So it goes on and on.
Who's won CIF titles at La Habra and everything else, right? So
we're gonna do something for Coach Ancich. We'll do some kind of documentary for him. But man, wait till you get to know this guy. There's so much I could say, but I gotta leave it here.
his legacy that he leaves behind, though, what a legacy.
And if I could do just a uncensored version, it'd be even more fun. And it had nothing to do with curse words or anything like that. It's just strategies and the things that were going on behind the scenes. So interesting. I would love to have video. Well, there's some video out there, but I don't have it. All right. Well, listen, thank you for joining us tonight. That's it, man. Next week we'll come. Aren't we coming to him from the championship game this weekend?
Yeah, right,
Cerritos
that's
College.
From Cerritos College.
Is
We're
that
going to be out
right?
there.
I hope I make it.
Yes,
man.
we will
I'm
be
going to be
there.
partying all day.
We're going to
at
crash the
Christmas parties
gate. They
before
might
I
try
come
to
the
keep us out,
stadium,
but we'll
man.
crash the
How about
gate.
a CCR candy?
Gonna
That's
need
the
a
last game of the night.
breathalyzer to get into that thing, man. I'm telling you
Candy,
right now.
baby.
Easy, man. Easy.
All right, on behalf of Rosenblum and Gibson, I'm Richard Tracy. So long from your friends here That's a SoCal Prep report. Hey, where's Mo and Carlos?
I know.
Carlos.
We haven't seen Carlos in a long
No, they went on vacation.